we have now found these secret tunnels which the Bar Kokhba soldiers used after their attacks for the Romans. They escaped back to this home base. We're going to go check out how they survived without even leaving the tunnel once.
Hello, all Israel News viewers. I'm Aurel Moran.
I'm Levi from Discover Israel Tours, and by the grace of God, he's given us some shade because it is hot today. We're going to discover the warriors of Bar Kokhba, kind of their strategy, what their purpose was, what their hope was for the future, and we're going to be actually crawling through the same tunnels that they dug out to then use strategic warfare against the Roman Empire.
I'm looking forward to it. Let's go.
The Jewish people have a list of mighty warriors, ancient mighty warriors. On that list comes a man called Bar Kokhba. He lived in the years between 132 and 135, lived a little bit prior, didn't live after, unfortunately. After the year 70, the Second Temple was destroyed, and it was a hard period of time for the Jewish people. The Jews were exiled to slavery inside of Rome. You had the Jews who actually stayed here locally, and there was a mindset. One mindset was, we'll continue our Jewish traditions how they are, but underneath the rulership of another empire. And the other mindset was, no, we must build back our temple, have an independent Jewish state where we are the people who make the rules here. Bar Kokhba was to the prior ideology. He gathered this fierce army. They say the warriors had to be so brave that at the beginning, he requested them to chop off a finger until the rabbis told him, come on, man. You understand that this is kind of counterproductive to being a soldier. So in the end, he said, okay, all they have to do is uproot a tree with their own bare hands. Now he went with a strategy called guerrilla warfare. A way to then battle them is confuse them, tire them out, strike, and then retreat. The way he did that was he built these tunnels. And he went to attack the Romans into the valley. Now there's a Roman road in the valley. The Romans would have been doing patrols. They would come, attack the patrols in the middle of the night, race back into their little tunnels. And so the Roman army was confused. He managed to succeed with his revolt until, unfortunately, the end of the revolt ended in absolute devastation with over 600,000 dead. Unfortunately, the Romans come and they destroy each city in Judea, including Herodion, including Hideouts Midras, and all over, and the revolt was devastatingly suppressed to the state that we have scriptures saying that there was no one left to bury the bodies. Because we're only 1,800 years later, we have now found these secret tight tunnels which the Bar Kokhba soldiers used after their attacks for the Romans. They escaped back to this home base. Now it was super hard to find. You can see there's just a small entrance here. There's a big tree covering the entrance. So if you had your drone surveillance 1,900 years ago, you wouldn't be able to see this place. It's a very smart technique. You have this rock over here. This is soft limestone, which you can see with my fingernails. I'm even breaking it apart, so you could actually dig with your fingernails. So small tools had to be used. And they created a massive, massive system of caves here. And soon we're going to go check out and see how they survived without even leaving the tunnel once and managed to eat food and grow food inside of these caves.
Okay, let's go.
So you guys get to decide who's a better crawler, me or Oreo. Take this first person view. Luckily for me, I've done loads of crawling in my life.
It's not easy to film at the same time.
Here's Oreo. Make sure you don't tell her what I just said. It's a secret between us. All right, check it out. I remember I promised you that I would show you how they ate food in this place. So these little squares, they aren't random. They're actually what we call a columbarium. They are squares where pigeons would come in, they would settle. We use pigeons for many reasons. One is the excrement is wonderful for fertilizer. The second was food. And third of all, when the temple was around, they used to use them as sacrifices in the temple. So this is how they had a natural urban farm growing, and it still kept them secret. And you can see these were essential for their survival, these little sections here. Not all of it is dug. You can see that they cut out blocks and brought them out and expanded in this way.
Just being in here, you understand how much they lived, not in fear, but they lived very smartly. You have to think about how they took the elements of nature, the trees, the caves, and literally made it serve a purpose beyond what it naturally was. So they not only just grew, things in here for all the reasons that they needed to live, but also for survival. So put yourselves in their shoes for a second. You're inside here and you're hiding. You're hiding because you know that you can use all these different elements for your, almost like a battle strategy, without always having to confront the battle head on. So sometimes it's like this, sometimes it's like that, but either way, survival for them was key. Okay, we're continuing into more narrow places. Let's go.
Whoa, look at that.
And we can already see the exit.
Those caves weren't the most comfortable situation and not the ideal place to be. So on the day-to-day, they would actually have houses on top of this hill, which we're going to explore shortly, and also sort of the more accessible caves, such as this one. This is something that we see at the entrance to lots of cities. It's a little kadeh. I'm not actually sure what it is. It could have been, for water, or it could have been for oil, which they would put on themselves before going in the house. But it is quite common to see this before the entrance. All right, and there you have it. Check it out. It's super cool. You've got, this double cave right here. You have the air shaft, so it could have been for cooking or, another escape trail.
We found another type of cave. Levi, what type of cave is this?
This happens to be a burial cave, which tells me if it was a Jewish town, it must be on the outskirts of the city. Also, only wealthy people really got to be buried in a cave. Not wealthy people just got buried in the backyard or, somewhere as such. But, the hierarchy of the town would have been buried in caves, and this would have been, sealed off. Parts of it is already sealed off. And, we talk about in the Mishnah, which is a 1,800-year-old scripture, accumulated the way people lived back here, is that purity and impurity played a major role inside of Judaism. And the worst impure element would be called impurity via death. So if a priest would then come into a cave like this, he would then be impure with the death, and he would have to have the red heifer ashes and the special water and other elements like Ezov to then purify himself before he can go back to the temple. So if I was a priest back then, I wouldn't get close to it. I would know where these places are ahead of time. And until today, a fun fact, Jewish priests who then hold on to the heritage and the chain line of them being priests from back then don't go into graveyards and are very particular not to be impure via the dead body. The Romans were a little bit more particular when they came to their standard of design and luxury needs, especially during life and somewhat afterlife. So here we can see lots of classic Roman architecture. The stones on the outside are incredibly square, which is basically ashlar stones are very square stones. That's it. And around here we can see the sealant stone, which many of you may recognize from the picture of the Garden Tomb in Jerusalem, of the sealant stone to seal up graves. The idea was they didn't want animals to come and eat the bones. They wanted it to be safe, so the body would decay naturally. Some say the idea was to stop thieves, but it's just you have a slot here and a slot here and you could roll the stone out. So it was mainly for to protect the bodies from animals. Let's go inside. And you can see they have a little rimming and designs here at the top. You still have these sections where the sarcophagus would have gone, the flesh-eating box sarcophagus would have gone. And throughout the years, thieves have come here and they've stolen these sarcophagus and any treasures that they would have been buried with. Here we can go inside the complex itself, okay, this is super cool. So this would have been for a particular family. You can see how the ruins here of the actual sarcophagus itself. This would probably be known as an ossuary instead of a sarcophagus. So they would have two different burials. The first burial would be in the sarcophagus, where the flesh would then be eaten over a period of about a year. Then they would take the bones and put them inside something like this called an ossuary, and this would be the second burial.
The heat is above our heads. Find some shade. It's just magnificent. Even their senses, I'm smelling just sort of the soil here. It smells sort of damp. It's not necessarily even rainy season now, but you can smell that it's damp. You can see the pigeons overhead, and you can just imagine them inside these caves, living their lives and the conversations they might have had. What would they talk about? Would they talk about the prophets of old? Would they talk about their enemies? Would they strategize? And also talk about maybe even the mundane things of life. People are people everywhere at all times during history. There's definitely nothing new under the sun. Guys, it's been such a wonderful day. We're here in this cave. It's just so magnificent to be in all the places where we survived and we hid and we conquered our enemies. Levi, what do you feel about this day?
A tremendous day to see where we left off and to understand where we're picking up. Definitely seeing the struggles that they went through and the lifestyle that they went through back then, it really contributes to my identity of who I am. And I want to continue that fire which they sparked here and just make it into a huge flame that can then warm those around us.
It's wonderful. It's been great. We hope that you guys have enjoyed this. If you want more Israel-related content, go to allisraelnews.com, hit the notification bell, hit subscribe. Livy and I will see you guys in the next one.